YouTube community, Rolling Stones fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens. We are here today to talk about Got Live If You Want It, the very first live album from the Rolling Stones, released December 10th, 1966, through London Records in America. This was released in a couple other countries as well, which has since become a very highly collectible Stones item, pressed in super limited amounts in different countries, not the UK. But in America, this was put out as a stopgap album between releases, between Aftermath and Between the Buttons, their upcoming album, because they were humongous. Like, they were big in 64 and 65, but 66, things really blew up for these guys in the US. Obviously, they were massive in the UK, but over here in the US, they had a humongous tour in the summer of 1966 where it was one of those things where, like, it felt like us versus them, because the Stones and their crowd, the police couldn't figure them out. The whole thing was a mess. It's the best publicity ever when you have, like, you know, your show gets shut down for causing a scene. I mean, it's rock and roll, man, but they like it. This album is a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of it is studio overdubs and taken from different concerts throughout a couple different months throughout 1966. Even though the back of it says it was done all at the Royal Albert Hall, well, none of it was done at the Royal Albert Hall, so there's that. It's a cool album. Some of the songs were done at Colston Hall in Bristol on October 7th. Some were done at City Hall in Newcastle. So it's a culmination of a couple of shows. Robert Luke Oldham, who put this thing together, the Stones producer at the time, manager, figured it would make a better show to find some of their better performances to put them together so it sounds like a cohesive performance, which is exactly what he did, and it works really well. There's a UK EP which came out in 1965, which also features the same name of Got Live If You Want It, which is based off of a Slim Harpo song, Got Love If You Want It. It's funny, there's two tracks on here that are studio tracks that they overdubbed a live recording audience onto. I've Been Loving You Too Long, the Otis Redding cover, and Fortune Teller, which every band in the 60s did Fortune Teller, but those two songs are studio recordings, and Fortune Teller dates back to 1963, but it actually kind of works in this setting, and we'll go into that as we do. Peaked at number 6 on the Billboard charts in early January of 1967, so within a month it already hit the top 10. It went gold. It was a massive seller. The Stones have kind of gone on to disown this record, and they really call Get Your Ya-Ya's Out as their first live album, but this album is great because it captures that early teen idol Rolling Stones that would kind of vanish as the years went on, and it's great to hear the excitement. It's great to hear they're playing at this time. It's an awesome document to the early Stones live show. So if you weren't there, you can put this on and get an idea of what it would have been like. But it opens up with Under My Thumb, and the crowd is just nuts for the Stones to come on stage. They get introduced. Charlie starts bashing away. The other guys join in. For a song that on, you know, the recorded single version of this song, it's kind of not necessarily a chill song, but it's definitely more of a laid back song with moments of excitement. They really seem to just put all the excitement into this performance, and it rocks the whole way through. What I love about this record is that there's several songs on here that you would have never expected them to play live, and they do, and they work really well. So an unexpected opener with Under My Thumb, but it works really well, and it blasts right into Get Off My Cloud. I mean, Charlie, come on, man. One of the best drummers of all time doing that intro. It's so good. It continues the rock and feel, but obviously a little bit more charged up. The bass is on full display here. There's several songs in this album where the bass is really prominent. But yeah, the guitars are fun. Charlie's flying. Great background vocals. Mick is doing his thing. Excellent version. Then you get Lady Jane, which is actually kind of a surprising track. A song that would show up several times in the mid-60s on Stones releases in America. A great song. Acoustic guitars, calm drumming. Definitely a warm performance. You know, I couldn't imagine being at a Stones show in 1966 and they bust out Lady Jane. To me, it almost feels like it would be like kind of a showstopper, not in a good way. Like, oh, the acoustic guitars have come out. Uh-oh. But, like, it works really well. They do a good job with it. And then Not Fade Away, the Buddy Holly song. This thing just slams along. Tom-tom drums. It just sounds like a stampede the whole time. There's harmonica on this one. They just nail it. This is a staple that was in their set list for a long time. So it's good to have this on record. And the last two songs on side one, I've Been Loving You Too Long, the Otis Redding song. This is such a great track. This came from a 1965 session. And it's funny because if you listen closely, you can almost hear like the repeated audience loop, like starting over again. So, but if you're not listening too closely, you would never notice that. But their version's really nice. Mick does a good job of trying to calmly deliver the vocal because it's a hard song to sing, and Otis just nails it on his version, but it's good. And then Fortune Teller, like I said, everybody did this song in the 60s. For being a 3-year-old studio track, it does sound, quote unquote, on the weaker side, but because it's a live performance, you hear other things on songs you would have already known that sound a little, quote unquote, loose. So hearing them kind of jam this one out and then put the studio or the live banter over at the live audience, it works. It passes. Side 2, things really kick off with side 2. You get the last time, and you're back to the fast-paced kind of track here. Love that lead guitar riff. The bass is super loud. Mick is doing his Mick thing. It just rocks along perfectly. 19th Nervous Breakdown's the same way. Powerful, storming number, great track. Time Is On My Side is actually one of the album highlights for me. I love this version. The guitar solo, the shreds, so bluesy. It's just like the record, but a little bit more fluid because they were just feeding off the energy of the audience. It's youthful and crashing, catchy in all the right places. Excellent performance of this song. I'm Alright follows that one. Just a grower of a song that just jams the whole way through. Very cool. And then you get Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Standing in the Shadow. And this song, you know, for a historical document of just like having this song on a live record is important because this song basically vanished from their set lists after the 60s. Rarely ever was it played again. It was played, of course, but not very often. But this was one of the more recent singles at the time, so it was great to have it on here as well. But this performance is awesome. It's bombastic. It's a little sloppy, but it captures the excitement, which is what you're there for. It's fun. You're there for the enjoyment of being with your friends at the Rolling Stones concert. You're not looking for perfection. You want to have a good time. And then ends with I Can't Get No Satisfaction, just a pounding rocker that sort of cuts in poorly from the edit of Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Sitting in the Shadows. It just kind of jumps in, which is kind of interesting. And you can almost hear the cut. It's a little awkward. But it's such a great classic song to end the record with. The back cover is absolutely one of the coolest pictures of the Rolling Stones ever. Charlie's got his mustache. Keith is rocking those sunglasses. Brian's got those big sideburns. I mean, everyone just looks so cool in this picture. Front cover is good too, but the back cover, that's where it's at. This thing is a mono copy, and it was released in mono and stereo. On the London label, it's the red London label for this one. So there you go. Side 2. It's just a fantastic album. A lot of people kind of put this thing down because of the 2 studio tracks and also because of what was to come with their discography later on. They'd put out bigger and better live records as they went. But you got to start somewhere. I love Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. That's a fantastic record. I mean, that intro, ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones. Like, classic. You can't beat that. But this album, for capturing that 60s, that mid-60s feel when they were still on, like, Teen Beat magazine and stuff, hearing the excitement of, like, all your friends going out to the Rolling Stones concert, having a great time, watching these guys on stage, rocking your face off, it must have been amazing. So to have a document of this thing is fascinating because some of these songs they would very rarely ever play ever again. So for that, it's really cool. Is it the best thing they've ever done? No. Is it fun? Yeah. And that's half the battle. You know most of the songs if you're a casual fan. It's good to hear live versions of them just to get into the mood of something different. So for Curio, it's awesome. It's pretty much a US only record. So if you're in a different country like the UK, this might be kind of a special album to be like, oh, what's this cool American record? So it's fun. For me, it's probably a 7 out of 10. And not something I put on terribly much, but it's a good listen when it's on. And the studio tracks work really well with the audience tagged on top of it. So they made something really cool out of it, even though some of it's a bit of a lie, but it works. So that's it. My name is Giggens. This has been the Rolling Stones. Got live if you want it. 7 out of 10. What are your thoughts on this record? Let me know in the comments below. And yes, I got a haircut. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.